Assalamu alaikum, ladies and gentlemen. This is Khurram Zahir Chishti. I'm a certified NLP Neuro Linguistic Programming Coach. And today, the book that I plan to review is You Become What You Think by Shubham Kumar Singh. You Become What You Think by Shubham Kumar Singh, a very critical and a very relevant book with respect to the thought process and how we perceive things, our habits, and the importance of keeping our thoughts repeatedly on topics of positive self improvement. So, let's delve deeper into this. So, this is the book. What you become, what you think. Highly recommend you purchase because it will give you a new perspective into how we think and how our thought process impacts our daily activities. First of all, by way of introduction, Sikh core claim is simple but powerful that our life is largely a reflection of our dominant thoughts, and which you should know it is very intuitive. It's like this: we have a certain thought, a certain person is not good for us. That's just our self conceived notion that leads to an emotion over time if you repeatedly think about it. A particular teacher, particular boss, particular professor does not like us, though it may not be a reality. Eventually we start developing an emotion of hatred. Once we keep thinking that thought, that leads to an emotion of hatred, dislike, that goes to an action, translates into an action whereby our attitude and our response to that particular person is very negative, very disrespectful, and out of a context which he may not know, right? So, hence, we are largely a behavior reflection of our own thoughts. Change the way you think, and over time, you will change how you feel and what you do and what you become. It's very simple to change your mindset, change your thinking. If you think of yourself as a loser, good for nothing person, so no matter how much opportunities are given to you, you are still going to make a mess of them because that's what your main identity is. Okay, you are a loser. To change your identity, change your thought process. Okay, no, you are competent, you can do it, and focus on the early little wins in daily lives. Drawing from hundreds of self study, psychology, and philosophy books, he distills best of ideas into short practical chapters organized around six themes, and the themes are happiness and mindfulness, habits and growth, stoicism, mental health, relationships, and human psychology, and each of which will be covering in my presentation. And the result is more like a curated toolkit of insight and exercises with traditional narrative of the self-help books, and then a traditional narrative of the self-help books. So let's delve into it. First of all, happiness and mindfulness. What is these two things, happiness and mindfulness? First perspective is living in the present moment. Sig, the author, opens by arguing that regret, past, or anxiety, future, dominates our mental life. As we all know, we have a daily around 55 to 60,000 average adults have thoughts. Majority of them, you can say 80-90% of that, are present or past, which is basically regret or anxiety. But the only place we actually live and act is the present. He leans on Eckhart Tolle: when you stuck in the past or future, you miss the now, and now is the only moment that truly exists. Hence, the practical application: notice when your mind slips into playing old scenes or catastrophizing about the future. Notice when it does that and gently pull back, and how you can focus on your breath. Just or get all your senses involved in the present moment. See what's going on around you. It could be trees, it could be grass, it could be traffic, it could be noise, it could be people fighting. Feel, smell, see, smell the good, bad taste, odor that's around you. So just come. Two darts of suffering. Borrowing from the Buddhist psychology, he explains primary versus secondary gain. The first dart is unavoidable, which is basically first time you have a loss, you have a rejection, you have a breakup, somebody cheats you, blah blah blah. But this, now that you have taken the first dart, you should reflect, take it on the learning curve and see what is it that it is your fault. See how you could avoid it. But the second dart is a suffering you add by replaying, dramatizing, or personalizing this event. It may not be that so, but you yourself make up by constantly thinking. Number one. Number two, be careful about your, take it on the learning curve and show okay, there is no point of having the second dart. The key message here is that you can't avoid the first dart, but you can stop throwing the second one. Then observing your thoughts instead of fusing with them. The easiest way to distance yourself from your thoughts is by naming them. Once you name a particular thought, for example, if I walk into a shop and I see this guy eyeing me, and I feel that since he's eyeing me, he thinks I'm a beggar, and I have a feeling of dislike and hatred towards that security guard or disgust towards security guard. Let me just name it. Okay, fine. I've entered the shop. I'm having this particular disgusting thoughts, disgusting negative thought. Once I've identified and named that thought, I move away from the thought because by naming and shaming that thought, I've created a distance between myself and the thought. If I don't do that, then I'm fusing me, my thought, and myself as one thing, and then I react. Okay, then non attachment and change. What does this mean? It means that we have to observe the things around us without getting judgmental about them. We walk into office and we see our boss in a very bad mood, throwing things around, shouting at people. So instead of judging him, okay, he's like this, he's a nasty boss, this and that, then let's see, just put the thing in, instead of judging, just see that probably he had a bad day, probably his child was not well, his father mother was not well, and that's why he's not able to control something like that. But without judging, you have you that if you don't judge, then that will create a non-attachment aspect between you and the other people, and you will be far able to carry yourself better, because if you don't judge, then you will not carry that negative emotion, your boss is nasty and all, and hence there will be lesser of the negative emotion for you to worry about. Then comes real composure versus false calm. What is that? Composure does not mean emotional numbness. It does not mean that you are numb to emotions. All it means feeling fully without being dragged endlessly by the feeling. You could be sad for a particular reason, you lost your money in stocks or you did not perform as much as you expected on a particular project. Fine. You take it, you feel it, you see what went wrong, see where your fault is, but then don't get dragged endlessly. Don't start this thought um, uh, thoughts loop and thought feedback loop whereby you keep grinding on the same thoughts, and that comes into so negative that the actual thought is far away and then you're thinking of something else. Then moving on to the next slide, it's about habits and personal growth. What is that? First of all, habits are a vehicle for personality change. The author aligns modern habit science. Lasting change comes from turning goals into daily habits. For example, if you have a goal to lose 10 kg in the next 6 months, so that's a goal. How to make it? It could be that okay, you would not eat after 8 o'clock, you would go to the gym regularly, you will watch for what you eat, things like that. So you make tiny habits a medium of achieving your goals. Make habits simple, attractive, and sustainable. Here, six take inspiration from James Clear, who wrote this very remarkable book, Atomic Habits, and whereby he says that instead of making just going for a 360-degree change in your habits, in your working life, in your personal life, in your financial life, let's say okay, you want to start reading. Instead of saying buying yourself 50 books and saying I will complete them in the next 6 months, let's say that you buy like two books, and that two probably a simple ones, a recommended ones, something of your interest, and say okay, probably as you have your morning tea, you will read 2 cups of 2 pages of the book. That's all. So you have stacked the habit. Morning tea, everybody has tea in the morning with breakfast. So when you have your tea, you will read 2 pages. So it's 2 pages, it's simple, it's attractive. It's just you have chosen a book of your choice. And sustainable was just 2 pages. You're not loading yourself. Probably you'll start reading a book, you'll start liking it, and two will go to three, three will go to four, and who knows, you'll read 10 pages at a time. Growth mindset in small steps. Here, the author says that a recurring theme is that the think in tiny compounding improvement instead of dramatic overnight change. As I said, instead of making a okay, I want to become the best reader in the world and 50 books in 60 days, something like that, some unimaginable goals, and then the goal will drain you, or you will not achieve it, or you'll get frustrated. Just a small steps, baby habits. You want to improve your health, you say the only thing I will do, I will go to gym every alternate day and spend 1 hour over there. And probably then you also make in the first day I will do my arms, second day legs, third day chest, something like that. So small baby steps will lead to a radical change and achievement of your goals. Then Stoic philosophy. What is that? Okay, it has the elements that are described over here in Stoic philosophy. Okay, what do I control and how does that set me free? They always remember control versus no control. There are factors within your control. There are many factors which are not in your control. Things are in your control are your actions, your response, your responsibilities, your resources available at hand, and majority of the things, how other people respond to it, your boss's attitude, how they take it, what do people do, is with not under your control. Anxiety happens when people assume that they have control over the things that they have no control over, and hence we come to the next point of pain as a resistance. What is actually pain? Resisting what you can't change plus replaying it with anger or fearful stories. Now, as I see, if I'm giving a project, the best I can do is to work hard at it, to read as much about it, to see how it has been done in the past, to try to improve how it is done in the past, to try to discuss this with the relevant people in my area, in my organization, see how it was done, or what do they know about it, or what are their feedback. Now if I start assuming okay fine, why am I given this project, it's too tough for me, how can I do it, it's not in my job profile. So if I see pain as a resistance, I will keep having a negative emotions in my head. Hence, for inner peace you have to accept the reality and work on it with your own hands and start working on it, and the way will appear. Last point here, inner peace and self reliance. What is that? When you say inner peace, it doesn't come from manipulating circumstances, but from needing less external validation. No one needs to tell you how good or bad you are. It's your own self that will, depending on how you have performed and how much of effort and energy you have given to a particular project or work, you will know have you given your 100%, and you are your own best judge. Caring less about status comparisons, instead of you comparing, you maybe in chapter 10 of your life and you can't compare with somebody else's chapter 20. Everybody are in their own time zones, so hence comparison is a thief of joy. Also anchoring your self-worth in your values and effort rather than results. You say okay fine, you are running a 100-meter sprint. Now your value is that you will not cheat, you will not take asteroids, but you have practiced hard for it. On the day of the race, you gave your 100%. Yes, yet you came third, not second, not first. And probably those people could have taken asteroids, and you have known that had you taken some drugs, probably you would have aced the race. But that is not the case. That's not your values. So hence you realize what your values are, what makes you peaceful, what will not make you have a guilty feeling in your life, and then act accordingly. Now, the point of mental health. Of course, we all know what mental health is. Here, what it means is that how I handle anxiety, low mood, and inner criticism. That's what the basic gist as far as this author is concerned. Normalizing struggle. You have to know okay, nothing comes easy. Struggle, setbacks, criticism, getting laugh from even close friends is a very common part of any work, any job. So get your hands dirty and know that struggle, pain is a part of the process. So normalize struggle. Second, cognitive patterns and emotional states. Basically, the author shows how thinking traps, uh, catastrophizing, all or nothing, thinking in black and white, self blame, inflame anxiety and depression. It happens to everybody. Even the most successful people have self doubts. Can I do it? Will I do it? How will this project turn out? What if I have cost overruns? What if it doesn't turn? What will people say? How will I answer to my stakeholders? All these are part of every great person's life. So, what is the anecdote? It is observe the thoughts, question extreme conclusions. Okay, fine, I expect to have this project will fail, it will not meet in the time, in terms of quality, in terms of what I'm expected to do will not. So question them. How, when you think of the worst possible situation, question them. Okay, fine, if how can it reach that worst possible state? It will not be completed on time, it will not be as per the quality, what's, so question them. Okay, what could go so bad? So once you have realized, okay, what could go so bad, then you'll know what to avoid and what not to do. Also replace them, just don't think of the word, replace them with balanced realistic interpretations. Okay, fine, this is what is expected of me. I'm having a new job. The new job, the new job, the new job would tell me, the new job entails me to be a master of certain policies, certain MISs, certain systems. Okay, fine. Instead of me may having the negative self connotations, I will not be able to do it. Let me make a particular strategy how to best excel at my job. Probably then I can have a paper made. Okay, first, okay, fine, I'll read all the policies. Second, I will make a strong robust database. I will talk to the relevant stakeholders, get the data. Number three, and have some timelines to it. In 2 days, I'll finish all the policies so as I can impress my stakeholders. Last is self compassion over self attack. Now, often it happens that we scold ourselves, kid ourselves, okay, we see, I know I'm a loser, I will good for nothing, so that's why this happened to me. I should not have gone into it, I should not have taken this new job. Now I'm going to lose my job. We often self-criticize ourselves to the point that we start taking new responsibilities and start taking new projects and start going and start going out of a comfort zone. So hence, like for example, think of it as, you talking to a friend who has been in a similar situation, who probably has lost his job for his performance issues. Then how would you talk to them? Compassionately. So have self-compassion. Be good to yourself. Speak to yourself as if you're talking to a friend of yours. Acknowledge the effort. Okay, fine, I made some effort. Probably it was not up to the mark, not as per the expectations. So what are the learnings from it? Okay, next time if I'm handling such a thing, how should I equip myself best so not to have the similar situations? And allowing mistakes at a part of the growth. Of course, you only know by doing. If you don't do, you will not only make any mistakes. But if you do, mistakes are a part of life, and see how you can avoid the most obvious mistakes. Okay, now moving on to the next point about relationships. Now, relationships, this is now the mind focuses, shifts from my mind to how my mind shapes my connections with others. First of all, belief and expectations in relationship. This is the most important thing. How relationships work, the quality of a relationship heavily depend on the stories we tell ourselves about other people. They are always against me, no one understands me, and how what we expect from them. So bottom line is that please don't stop expecting things from anybody. Even if you do good to them, don't expect any good in return. Of course, if you do bad to them, you don't expect any good in return, right? So, and the belief, stop judging people. Don't just, you can be friends with anybody, even your best of the best friends. Don't stop judging them, because you don't know on a day-to-day basis what sort of load they are carrying, what sort of issues they are having. So no one has a right to judge the other person. Okay, he's that. Just take as they come, and just assume, okay, bhai, they are good humans. You do good to them, but don't expect anything from them. Empathy and perspective taking, again, it's something that has been often been repeated. Put yourself in others shoes. So you ask, what might this person be feeling or fearing right now? What what might this person be feeling or fearing this right now? If you're interviewing a new fresh graduate, of course you expect him to be nervous, to be doubtful, to first to calm him down, pacify him, and then talk to him. Thirdly, emotion communication and emotional literacy. What does this means? It means expressing clearly rather than hinting, rather than just hinting ke, oh my god, uh, uh, I have seen a better presentation, or saying ke, I have this could have been done a better way. Say clearly what exactly are the gaps and how to improve. Give clear instructions for others to follow, because if you give vague or speak vaguely, then the interpretation is dependent on how the other person takes it. So lastly, the human psychology. Basically, our default cognitive biases is that we have a bias towards negativity and threat. That's it goes without saying. We overgeneralize from single events. I said na, we assume a lot of things, we judge a lot of things. We should stop doing that. Rewiring through repetitions and attentions. As I said earlier at the early part of my presentation, thoughts, our dominant thoughts dictate our emotions, which dictate our actions, which become a character, which becomes a habit, and which becomes a personality, and that's how we do. So just ensure you repeatedly tell yourself, okay, no, my past is past, it is gone. There's little I can do about it, but now I'll be the best version of myself. I'll do give the 100 200% at whatever I do, with whoever I do, wherever I do, and I will be the best of the best that I have ever been. That I have ever been. No need to compare with anyone else but yourself. So rewiring through repetition, you keep repeating it to yourself so much it gets internalized, and you start believing yourself and know you are competent, you can do it. Mindset as a creative force. You have to understand that mind just does not reflect reality, it co-creates it. Visualization is very important. Whatever you visualize, you actually end up generating the hormones and generating the emotions in your body that does so. If a person walks in and you don't like the person, you will see how the emotion of hatred takes over your body. Your eyes stare at him, your jaw, you tighten your jaw, and all sort of action, all sort of things that reflect your anger, your frustration towards that person show up. So always be mindful ke how you what are your dominant thoughts and how to control them. If you see yourself as capable and worthy, you are more likely to attempt hard things, preserve, and notice opportunities. If you feel yourself as doomed or inferior, you often don't enter the arenas where growth is possible. Now, lastly, let's have a recap of the practical applications, what we can take away from this book and for our daily and everyday life. Thought observation: always name and be aware of your thoughts and know how to best handle it. Ask, what am I telling myself right now? Treat thoughts as hypotheses, not facts. Present moment anchoring. Come back to the present whenever you either go to the past or the future. How? By focusing on your breath, by noticing the things around you, involving your senses in what's happening in terms of the noises around you, smell around you, people around you. Reframing: when something bad happens, move from why me to what can I learn from it, instead of looking at it as a black and white negative event, just end of the story, end of the chapter, end of the life. Just see it's a not the end of the road but bend in the road. Tiny habits, the power of tiny habits. Reading 2 pages a day of a book, in the whole year you'd have read more than like 750 pages, and could have 750 pages means at least 3 to 4 books, depending on good how many pages the book have. But it also means that we got into the habit of reading. Self compassion: talk to yourself as compassionately as talk to your friend, and just ensure that you're not harsh on yourself, because your mind, your body reacts to your negative words. Acceptance of change: always know that grow no growth can take place without change. No growth can take place without change, and hence change is a critical part of anybody's life, be it professional, be it personal, be it relationship, be it financial. You have to have a acceptance and an open-minded mind towards change. But always ensure that change is for the positive, long-term positive. Long-term positive. We often go for short-term gratification like eating a chocolate, eating a biscuit just for the taste, and then have we suffer long-term. So always go for the long-term applications. So thanks a lot, ladies and gentlemen, and kindly subscribe my channel and probably provide me your feedback for improvement. Thank you.